Thank you very much, and it's absolutely great to be here today, as the heritage hero. So my name is Eugene Dunbar. Obviously, I'm from Tyrrellspass, which is in County Westmeath, smack bang in the middle of Ireland. And our community group is called Ethos, which stands for everything Tyrrellspass has on show. So we're not confined to history or geography or archaeology or culture. We can do whatever we like. Really, we have a blank canvas. Ethos, we're a voluntary community group, and we're, dedicated to celebrating and exploring our local and cultural environment. So we have a very broad kind of brief. So the first thing I'd like to say, a committee is central, to running community, to running community events, and to have a strong, committed community. We've been in operation for 8 or 9 years, and our committee has changed and evolved, as projects went on, as we became involved in other areas of exploration. So the committee, you're going to be involved in finance, in getting funding, to run various projects. Insurance is a huge issue, for community groups to make sure that you're insured if you're going on walks or field studies or whatever. Grant aid is another, onerous kind of task for any committee, to know what's available, what grants can you avail of. And form filling can be quite a task as well. IT, you're going to need somebody on your committee, who has some expertise in IT. You're going to be involved with the media and with PR. So your committee, should, insofar as it possibly can, should have people that have varied expertise. In Tyrrellspass, we would run 9 or 10 events over the course of the year, really, to engage the community. And we have walks, we have specialist talks on things of local interest. We run field studies where we'd invite in maybe people from the Peatland Conservation Council or other people in to give us weekend workshops. We have exhibitions, and here we did a photographic exhibition last year, and it was hugely successful. Very simple idea, but basically I took photographs of bog plants and butterflies in our immediate environment, and we used the village as a kind of as an exhibition area, and we put these very large printed photographs in all the shop windows and in private houses, and it caused a great stir, because sometimes you put on events and the local people may not come. You might be drawing people in from other areas, but actually the local people may not be as involved as you'd like them to be. But this actually caused a great stir, because people were talking, oh my goodness, look what we have, on our doorstep. So spreading the word, and I'm calling this tools of engagement, really. We'd make a strong use of Facebook. I'm not absolutely sure how effective it is. It's a great place, a great space to be involved in, and it does attract a lot of followers, and it's a space where you can actually promote your activities. Excel spreadsheet. I find this is our lifeline, really, because if we run an event, we take a list of people's names, their email addresses, their telephone numbers, and when we have another event coming up, we send out a text message or an email message, and I find that is very, very effective, because you're engaging with an expanding audience all the time. Posters, for any of our events, we're very conscious of developing nice posters, and we would festoon the village with posters, of upcoming events, and it's worth putting. And some people say, oh, what's the point of having posters? But it does put your organisation or your community group on the map, if you like. So there's just two of our posters, that's for our photographic exhibition, and this was the photographic exhibition as well, where we invited in Éanna Ní Lamhna from Birdwatch Ireland, and we had Ben Malone from Biodiversity Ireland to speak at the time of our exhibition. So that was very successful. So these are just some other event posters. We had John Feehan, who was a fantastic man, know the geology and botany and whatever in Laois and Offaly in particular, and he's just an absolute genius. He came down and did a whole weekend with us on our local eskers. We had some years ago we did a whole weekend on bog bodies and on our local bog Cloncrow, and that was hugely successful as well. And this one here is just celebrating, the dawn chorus, and we run a bluebell walk and these kind of events. So posters we see as being key, really. These are some of the posters we would have used for our music events. We run traditional Irish concerts. We'd run maybe 5 or 6 traditional Irish concerts in the village over the course of the year, and we get really top class musicians. And again, it doesn't attract the real local people, but it brings an awful lot of people into the village. We might have 100 people coming for these kind of concerts, because traditional Irish music, it has a long tradition in Tyrrellspass, and we like to promote it, and we bring in the best exponents of it. This is, I found, the nitty gritty, like the Central Statistics Office. I found if you go onto their website and you look at the 2016 national census, you can drill into that actually, and you can get the statistics for your own small local area, and it is absolutely fascinating. I mean, Tyrrellspass has a population of about 500, but when you drill into it, you just find what kind of people you're dealing with, the profile of the population. There are gaps. And we found a lot of gaps actually. We have a very young population going from 0 up to about into the teenage years, but there's a big gap actually from 20 to 30 or 40. The pyramid goes in, and then it broadens out again for the more mature people like myself, and elderly people as well. So that you can target, when you look at those kind of statistics, you can target your audience. We were amazed to find the nationality of people in our tiny village. We've Polish people, we've Lithuanian people, and we've from the rest of the other EU countries, and from the rest of the world there's some Chinese people there, because there's a Chinese restaurant in the village. Some of them speak no English at all. So I mean, you could actually have a nice little project around these people to tell their story. If you asked anybody in Tyrrellspass, are there many foreign nationals living in the village, they'd probably say no, but actually when you drill into it, you find that there are. So maybe this is the village of Tyrrellspass again, just here, and when you drill into that, it's a well worth exercise. The next thing I would say, advise to know your built environment. To identify what are the key buildings in your local area, in your local environment, and to identify those and to celebrate them, no matter how, they may not be big medieval castles. I mean, I go down to Clare an awful lot, and I was amazed down in Milltown Malbid, there was an old boathouse down there, and the gable end had fallen down, and they restored it, and they built a whole project around it, and it was absolutely fascinating. So you can celebrate what's very local. So to know the key buildings, to know that. We had Dr. Miles Campbell from Trinity College Dublin. He came down and did a fantastic walk around the village and looked at the architectural heritage of Tyrrellspass, and that actually went down amazingly, and it attracted a huge local interest. Your hinterland, to get to know your hinterland, the area around you, identify what's of interest. We would see Lough Ennel is very close to us. It's a fascinating lake, fabulous lake, and we organised events around that. We found Clonfad, which was a monastic site very close to the village, and it was only discovered quite relatively recently that there was a major kind of industrial site there for the manufacture of early medieval church bells, and nobody knew about it, and we're in the process of still celebrating that, if you like. We have a lovely esker close by. We have Arden Wood, which is an oak woodland, and then we have Cloncrow Bog, which is within walking distance of the village, but nobody goes out there and nobody appreciates it, because to the people of Tyrrellspass, a bog is a bad place nearly. It's where you get your turf, and it's where you slaved during your youth or whatever to draw home the turf, but we've celebrated it. So this is Lough Ennel, and this is the incredible starling murmurations which take place there from November, right through, it's still, well, it has just about finished now, you know, and every evening you have this fascinating murmuration of starlings. So we've brought out, you know, birdwatch groups. Mooney Goes Wild was down with us and did a number of his programmes from the shores of Lough and celebrating this. Most people would have been totally oblivious to it. We would have brought out, you know, people interested from the community as well to see this kind of a thing. So from Lough, you know, the Dawn Chorus is another thing we do, and Mooney again came down and did one of his programmes, you know, live from Lough. I'm going to push on because I'm conscious of time. Just keep me. So the bog, Cloncrow Bog, is our kind of, you know, it's dear to me especially. But in our village, we had a local action plan done for 2018 to 2020, and this was done in conjunction with other community groups, you know, with businesses and with local residences. And these were sort of some of the key issues that arose to develop Cloncrow Bog as a visitor and amenity whilst being sensitive to the preservation of the natural environment, to maximise the tourist potential in Tyrrellspass, and to support the development of enterprise. So we kind of as a committee took those three key things. There are lots of other things as well, but we took those on board because we felt this is coming from the community, this is what the community wants, so we should respond to that. This is Cloncrow, and here we're out with our cameras, and we kind of did, as I told you, we did a survey, photographic survey of all the plants and the butterflies in the local area. Hugely successful, as I said as well, and especially the exhibition after. Engaging with young people. I mean, I heard one of the last speakers saying that is so important to get into the school. I remember the last speaker was just in for the end of it, but he was saying it's difficult to get onto a school agenda. But in a local community, you know, I mean, I'm a retired teacher myself, but it's important to get into the school and to engage with the school and with the principal. I'm bringing, for example, the principal asked me would I bring some of the kids out for a walk next Friday on the Esker, and I said of course I will, absolutely. And then I said which class group do you want to bring? He said oh no, we're bringing the whole school. So so from junior infants up to 6th class. I said okay. So but I'm going to focus on just one or two. I'll have one or two of the classes kind of, you know, behind me, and all the teachers are coming as well. But the young people are key. You know, they're absolutely key because they go home and they'll tell because you know, because we'll look at the wildflowers and we look at all the kind of stuff, and we'll upload our findings then onto the biodiversity website, which I'll mention in a few minutes. So this is Nuala Madigan from the Irish Peatland Conservation Council. You know, she's been down with us as a number of occasions, and they run fantastic, you know, schools programs. So get in contact with these organisations, and they're more than willing to come down and to lend a hand. This is our current bog project, if you like. We're trying to develop a trail across the bog, which is up that end of it, and then back into the village, and to develop a kind of a historic tourist trail as well. That's kind of very much at the start. We're trying to find out who owns all these plots of turf. So we have all the folio numbers, and we have to find out who owns them and get the permission. And it's a very delicate operation. So. Okay, so the other thing, you know, another idea that I kind of want to explore, you know, this year is our unsung heroes. You know, to look at your community. We have bog bodies. You know, Ned Kelly was down with us to talk about bog bodies. The monks from Clonfad, which is that monastic site I spoke about. Richard Tyrrell, who was a castle in Tyrrellspass. The Countess Jane of Belvedere. James Daly from the Connacht Rangers. So identify maybe people in history that go back and try and organise something around that. Am I doing all right for time? Am I? Yeah. Okay, so this I'm calling sort of putting your community on the map, and I'm just totally bowled over with the biodiversity website. It is such a fabulous tool, and many people are familiar with it. No, well, it's just biodiversityireland.ie. You know, it's just incredible, and it's a citizen science portal, really. You know, I think there's only 5 or 6 people involved in the running of it. But basically, if you go out for a walk and you just jot down what you see, birds, plants, trees, no matter what it is, and you go back and you go onto the portal, and you can just click, but say it's birds, you just click on the birds and you just log in, you know, what you've seen and identify them, and it goes straight up onto their website, and it's immediately mapped, you know, nationally, and you can see the result immediately. And they keep all this information, and they send out reports at the end of the year. Like it's a citizen science project. Great. As I said, I'm bringing this school group out. When they come back, I'm going back in, and we're going to sort of pick maybe 10 or 15 key kind of sightings that we made, and we'll upload those onto the website. But I'd advise you, have a look at it. It is just an incredible website. So it's the National Biodiversity website. They're down in Waterford. Ben Malone would be one of the key people involved in that. So again, as I said, you pick whatever area of species that you're looking at. You upload it, and immediately it goes up onto the thing. And then there's also, you can look at your county and see how many people have logged on and what has been logged on. And you'll find, Westmeath has only 400 species logged on, whereas maybe Offaly have 600. So let's get going. Let's get out there. Let's go. And you can actually look at your own. You can see where you are as a recorder, individually or as a group or as a community group. And it's just a great way of recording biodiversity. I mean, I'm big into butterflies myself. And I recorded. I mean, I saw a holly blue butterfly yesterday, and my wife nearly died, because I was racing him. He was in the garden actually on a holly tree. Where's my lens? Where's my camera? And I was running up and down the stairs, and luckily enough he was still there when I came out. But there's brimstone, there's holly blues, there's peacocks, they're all flying, tortoiseshell, they're all flying at the moment. And if you record them on the day, I think that was the earliest sighting of a holly blue in the country, so, and wow, so heritage hero. So I would advise that. So I mean, and there's the thing. So when you come back to log on, you'll go into the map of Ireland, and you just click on where you saw the butterfly or the bird or the tree or the wildflower, whatever, and it immediately logs it in for you, and it's just instantaneous, and you get an instantaneous feedback, and it's a great resource. I was tied to 10 minutes. I don't know how long that took. But are there any questions?